Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining office hours this week. This is Ryan Garst, Senior Director of Clinical Services for NHIA. We'll go ahead and jump in and get started, and then we'll have time for questions at the end. We do have quite a few things to cover this week that are going to be changing, so we'll just jump in. So our agenda today, we'll talk a little bit briefly about some program updates, and then we're going to talk specifically about Teletracking, which is the reporting system that HHS and ASPR is using, as well as direct ordering from AmerisourceBergen. And then we'll talk briefly about the new Lilly EUA for Bamlanivimab and etesevimab, and just talk how what we know about that product at this point. So some of our program updates to this point through 8 weeks is we've allocated over 3,400 doses. The majority of our infusions have been 64% in nursing homes, 33% in assisted living, and 3% in other sites of care. We've administered 368 doses in 16 states and 54 cities, and 43% of those infusions are in populations of less than 2,500 folks, which is pretty impressive and pretty important considering that was one of the major focus areas for HHS and ASPR was to get this product and these products into areas that are less served, more rural. So that's a really significant statistic. And the mean age is roughly 82 years of age. And as you can see, we have clinical outcome data on 223 patients. 207 have reported no adverse effects or adverse drug events. Therefore, almost 93%. We've had 4 cases of hypotension and 3 of fever. So again, those are the main 2 adverse events that we've seen. None of this, except for 1 patient out of actually all 368, was the infusion stopped roughly 15 minutes into the infusion just due to hypotension and flushing. And that patient ended up getting a bolus dose of saline and was completely fine, no emergency room visit. And we still have only had 2 patient deaths. Out of all of those patients, again, those patients were 86 years old, as well as multiple comorbidities in the process of also having COVID. So again, overall, our patient safety outcomes have been very, very impressive in the program. And so we just wanted to note that. Also earlier this week, you all should have received, and if you have not, let me know, our white paper that we did publish, it's also on our website. It's called a Home Infusion Program for Administration of Bamlanivimab in High-Risk Settings. This is essentially a snapshot of our program and the outcomes that we've seen. This paper will be referenced in the next Duke Margolis policy paper, speaking specifically more about reimbursement for monoclonal antibodies for COVID in the home setting. As we've discussed numerous times, we know that the reimbursement for the home site of care is low, with the infusions being, well, even with the decreased infusion rates and times now, from 16 minutes up to 60 minutes, that's still a couple hours of worth of nursing time, and with distribution costs and compounding costs and services costs, that is a little tight. So you'll also see in that paper, if you've not referenced it or looked at it, some cost comparison for doing this in the home. And again, Connie will actually be speaking at the next Duke Margolis call, as well as our paper will be referenced in their policy paper. So that's really exciting stuff. They're a pretty large think tank when it comes to healthcare and other things. So the first change that we're going to see is for teletracking. So we've talked about this a few times before, and folks have gotten emails to sign up for teletracking and such, and we've encouraged you to do so. But effective beginning the week of March 1st, you will be asked to report your current on-hand inventory and the number of doses, or they call it courses infused, in the previous week. And that is all reporting on Wednesday. So we're asking for everyone to register by February 26th for teletracking. If you've not received an email, you can see the email on the screen to reach out to get the information to register. And from an NHIA reporting perspective, we are going to ask you to continue to report data and outcomes to us for continued analysis and advocacy work. It's important that we have primarily the clinical outcome data and the number of doses infused. That is really what we're looking for. It has been extremely beneficial for us during the last 2 months of the pilot program to have this data. So again, if we can continue to get that data and report it back, that is extremely helpful for us as an industry, again, on our advocacy front for adequate payment for services. Effective 3/1, Jennifer Lyons, she's one of our program assistants. She'll be sending out that weekly data tracking form, and you'll be returning it to her. She helps with a lot of our benchmarking programs and our research studies. So she's going to be taking over that process of sending out the form to everyone and then returning it. Again, we are asking that you do continue to report the clinical outcome data and the number of doses infused for that purposes, in addition to reporting your current on-hand inventory and the number of doses infused to teletracking. Our reporting period will remain Monday through Sunday, as we've been doing. That seems to be working for everyone. It's a Monday through Sunday reporting. We send that out on Fridays. I know sometimes I've been a little bit delayed in getting that out to everyone. I apologize, but everyone's done a fantastic job of getting it back to me by the end of day of Monday or early on Tuesday morning. So I really appreciate that. And again, myself and Jen Sharon will still be points of contact for the program, primarily me if you have any questions, but Jen is also available as my backup. And that's Jen Sharon. We have 2 Jens that work for us. So Jen Lyons will be helping with the data collection, and then myself and Jennifer Sharon will be your points of contact for any program questions or concerns as we continue to move forward. There is a link here, and I will also send it out in a PDF form for you to the teletracking SOPs. Again, you can see the link here. There is a note in here on that document. I don't believe it's been updated yet, but that long-term care facilities and or skilled nursing facilities are required to report utilization. I just want to make sure that there's clarity on that. You as the pharmacy will still be reporting to the teletracking program for data collection for the SPEED program. Those are for the facilities themselves to report through the CDC. It's called the NHSN, and I can't recall what the acronym is. There's so many nowadays, but that's a CDC program that they have to report through. That is not for our program as a pharmacy. You'll still continue to report through the teletracking program effective 3/1 and through NHIA up until then for the next couple of weeks. And again, and then forward, if you can still continue to report what we've just discussed. Reporting for teletracking is due by every Wednesday, and that's in that document as well. You'll see that. That's the days that they do their allocations. So that's when they ask for the reporting to be turned in. I'll take questions on this at the end from what I know, and I can try and help if there's any questions needed for that. The next step is also effective 3/1, and I didn't put this, I did put it on 3/1 there on the slide. I thought I missed it. This is the link for direct ordering from ABC. All of you that have received product through this program are set up with ABC if you weren't an existing member of their distribution. This is the link for direct ordering here. You'll see also, again, on that link that skilled nursing facilities and long-term care facilities are requested to provide data through CDC's NHSN program. Again, we are reporting through teletracking, and you as pilot sites can order direct from ABC moving forward for Bamlanivimab. There is another document for that I'll send in PDF. It's the ASPR overview for direct order process for COVID-19 therapeutics. I'll send that as a follow-up to this call. We'll get that out to everyone in the program. And again, just a reminder, if you will still continue to report to NHIA, I know it's a little bit of an extra lift to do 2 different methods of reporting, but the teletracking one is relatively simple. It's just 2 data elements. And then our clinical outcome data and the number of doses infused will still ask for you to report that to us. Okay, the hot topic from earlier this week, the Bamlanivimab etesevimab EUA was issued on February 9th. I've put links to both the EUA document as well as the healthcare fact sheet for healthcare providers as well. There's been a lot of questions that I've received, and there's been conversation around, when is this product going to be available? Is it going to be part of the SPEED program? All of that kind of thing. What I can tell you from a couple of calls that I've been on this week with HHS and ASPR is that they're highly recommending continue to use Bamlanivimab, as there's a supply readily available. The product is still have positive outcomes and showing effectiveness, and that the availability of this combination product is not known at this time. The FDA, HHS, and ASPR really have no clue. I don't want to say no clue because that sounds sort of derogatory, but they really don't have an idea yet as to when the product will be available. So again, it's out there. It will be coming, this combination product. So the etesevimab is the 4th monoclonal. So we have the 2 Regeneron products, the BAM, as well as etesevimab now. So 4 total monoclonal antibodies for COVID-19. But again, don't quite know when this is going to be available yet. And the 2 primary studies for EUA were the BLAZE-1 and the BLAZE-4 trial. So just putting that in there for reference for you. The other thing that I've gotten some questions on in the last week is regarding the reduced infusion times for Bamlanivimab. What I can say to that at this point is I've been on a couple of calls where Lilly representatives have been also present. They stated that they are putting information together for that. However, I have not seen anything published at this time. And again, just because I haven't seen it doesn't mean it's not out there, but I have been looking on a daily basis to try and see if there's any information regarding that. But what Lilly has mentioned, and if you look at the BLAZE-1 trial, there were essentially 4 treatment arms if you include the placebo group. One with 700 milligrams, the second I believe was either 24 or 2800 milligrams of BAM, and the last was 7,000 milligrams of BAM. What was interesting is that the outcomes from a clinical perspective for adverse drug events were very, very similar. And actually the 700 milligram dose had slightly higher adverse events. However, that's what the EUA for Bamlanivimab went to. So essentially what Lilly has mentioned, and what you can somewhat infer or extrapolate, is that 700 milligrams, all of the doses were given over 60 minutes. So the 7,000 milligram, if you break that down, is roughly 117 milligrams per minute. And so I think that's where, from the best that I can infer, and others certainly you may have some thoughts to that, is that's where they're pulling. That's where they're pulling and extrapolating that data, is that, we gave doses anywhere from 700 milligrams to 7,000 all over 60 minutes. We had similar adverse events in terms of infusion related reactions and such. So they're looking at, how could we decrease the infusion time? So that's what I have for that, at least, because I know I have gotten a lot of questions this week regarding Bamlanivimab and those reduced infusion times based on the newly updated EUA. Next, Bill is on the line and will be answering any questions if specifically there are any claims or reimbursement issues. If you do run into that, Bill is your point of contact. His email and phone number is there. Super helpful with getting information if you are struggling or getting anything kicked back to you for a denial or whatnot regarding processing of claims. So at this point, please enter in your questions into the chat. Looks like we have a couple of questions, so I'll jump in, but please continue to add them in. And again, it can be for either myself or Bill, who is on the line. So the first question we have is, if we have an ABC account number, do we use our normal ordering process, or is there a separate process with this program? From what I know is you do need to use that link for direct ordering for the product. ABC has a dedicated team for the distribution of the monoclonal antibodies that they're providing. So from what I know at this point is suggested to use that special ordering process where I put the link in the slides here. It's a simple sort of smart form where you just put in your information and such. So I looked at it online this morning. It's pretty straightforward, but I would recommend ordering through that specific process because ABC does have a specific team set up for monoclonal distribution. So we're looking, the question was, with the success rate of Bamlanivimab being so high, why is Lilly looking to pilot its use with an add-on therapy with etesevimab? You know, that's a great question. I don't know the reasoning behind that. However, they're doing so much research with the products. If I remember correctly from the Blaze 4 trial, they were also, and maybe this wasn't the Blaze 4 trial, forgive me if it's not, but there are studies that have been done with both Bamlanivimab and the combination product, also in regards to post-exposure use. So someone that's been exposed to COVID-19 and how these products have, they're being studied as a preventative measure from getting COVID. So not just as a treatment arm. So, you know, really, I can't speak for Lilly, but it obviously there is some additional benefit. I think also, as we've seen and heard a little bit, some with the vaccines and some with some other therapies that are being used. As the virus is mutating, different ways to attack the virus are having to be investigated. So, you know, we have the UK variant, the South African variant. There's a few others. I think there's 5 or 6 now. And then I just recently read another article about how they're having escape mutants that are decreasing some of the effectiveness of some of the products that are available for treatment. So, you know, it's interesting. Again, I can't speak to Lilly, but you know, I think we'll see what happens with those. You know, I wish I could have a better answer for you on that, but we'll see. I mean, but right now, like I said, most of the recommendations from, well, really all of them from the FDA and from you know, CDC and ASPR and HHS is really to continue using Bamlanivimab at this point. And then, you know, when that product's available, because again, it's not going to be available readily. Oh, thanks, Carl. It was the Blaze 2 for prevention using BAM. Thank you. I couldn't remember which trial it was. There's been so many, so thank you for that. It was the Blaze 2 trial. Blaze 2 trial was the prevention trial, but again, that is only for BAM again. So thanks for that clarity. There's been so much, so I appreciate the assist on that. It's hard to keep up with everything for sure, as I know you can all relate to. So, all right, great. So is ordering from ABC only for the purpose of long-term care patients or general public? So again, you know, let me get some clarity on that. I'm not 100% sure. That is the method for ordering, from my understanding, for all sites of care. So again, I will get clarity to that question and get back to you on that. I don't know that answer for sure. I'll have to check in with HHS and ASPR and ABC on that. Let me see if there's any more questions in the chat. Okay, I don't think I have any more questions. So if there's no more questions, we'll go ahead and wrap up for today. We'll get the recording posted in the slides for you. I realized that I didn't put those into the handout section today. I apologize for that. But I'll get those sent out to everyone that's part of the pilot for office hours today. And then we'll get this posted to the website as well for anyone that wasn't able to attend and listen. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me directly and we can do our best to answer those questions. But I will take the one question in terms of the ABC ordering for long-term care patients or general public. I will take that back and get an answer for you for sure. All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much for joining this morning. We'll get a few minutes back in your day. And again, thank you for all you're doing in regards to the pilot. It's been very, very successful, and it's been a really positive for our industry as a whole. So again, thanks so much and have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.